Okay, today we are discussing in this lesson the anatomy of a major and a minor chord. I know I've been talking about major and minor chords, and perhaps you know a major chord sounds happy and a minor chord sounds sad. But let's see why, because I'd like you to know why. Instead of just calling something a major or minor, let's understand why it's a major or minor. Let's take the easiest chord we've done so far, a C chord. So we have C, E, G. I'm going to do this with the right hand. C chord, you should be very familiar with that chord right now. Let's do this. Let's take the distance between the C and the E and let's count every note. Okay, so if I start on C and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why I put a 5 in between the E and the C. There's 5 notes total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's count the distance between the middle note and the top note, the third and the fifth of the chord, between the E and the G. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll put a 4 between the E and the G there, and that's the anatomy of a major chord. Okay, a C major chord. Any major chord will have that form, a 5 on the bottom and a 4 on top. And when we do a minor, what we do is, see, this is a C minor chord. Notice they're both C chords, C, E, G, C, E, G. But this chord is different because I have an E flat in the middle. The C and the G remain the same, but the E in the middle is flatted. So to the left, 1/2 step puts us on a black key, an E flat, and we get a minor sound, a C minor. Now this is why that occurs, because now we have 4 between the bottom 2 notes and 5 between the top 2. So C to E flat is 1, 2, 3, 4, and thus making the E flat to G a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a minor chord. So if you play any chord in root position, now this formula does not work if we're playing the chords in an inversion. If we play first or second inversion, it must be in root position for these numbers to be true. So let's take another chord. I'm just going to pick one out, and I'm going to pick a weird one out so that you can see that this formula will work. This is a chord that you've never played before if you're just playing my lessons. Here we go. Alright, I'm playing an E flat, a G flat, and a B flat. Is that a major chord or a minor chord? It's one or the other. Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then between the top 2 it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would match the minor. So even though you've never played an E flat minor chord probably, or a D sharp minor, that chord could also be called a D sharp minor chord. We know it's minor first from the sound of it. It sounds kind of, ominous or sad, or dark. But we have 4 or 5, and then we can test it and make sure. Now if this chord were in an inversion, that formula wouldn't work. It has to be in root position, okay, for us to figure out whether it's major or minor using this formula. So what I want to do is take a chord, take another one. Let's take this chord here, A, C, E, A minor, okay, A, C, E. First I want you to tell me whether that's major or minor. You should know from the past lessons that this chord is an A minor just from the sound, and also we've been playing it quite a bit. So A, C, E is minor. If we wanted to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would fit this formula, it would be minor. Okay, so we've established that it's a minor chord, so we'll put a minor here, A minor. Now what can I do to make it an A major chord? What can I do? Well, you don't mess with the outsides of the chord. The A and the E do not change. It's the middle note which determines whether it's a major or minor chord. We already know it's minor, so what do we do to make it major? Well, we do what we call raise the third. We want to make this distance a 5 from the A to the C instead of a 4. So A to C is 4, so we raise the C to a C sharp. Now when we do that, we make the distance between the A and the C sharp a 5, and then we make the C sharp to an E a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, thus making it major. Actually, I should write it here, rewrite it, and then call it major. Okay? So that makes an A major chord. Alright. So the middle note is what we changed to determine, or to make it major or minor. Let's try another chord. That was an A chord. Let's see. Let's try another easy one. Let's just do an F chord. What notes are in an F chord? F, A, C. Boom, boom, boom. That should be automatic. If it's not, go back and play some of the older lessons. Don't forget to go back and review. That's so important. Don't think because, well, I finished 10 lessons, they're under my belt, I'll always have them. No, you won't. You got to go back and review a little bit and add on to what you already know. Now, you don't have to practice those old lessons as much as you did in the beginning, but still go through them and remind yourself of some of the what we're talking about in each lesson. So here we have an F-A-C chord. Is that major or minor? Well, what does it sound like? Sounds happy to me. Major. Well, let's test it. F to A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A to C, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be our major chord. So it's major. Now let's make it minor. What do we do? Well, we already know the C and the F are not going to change between a major and a minor chord. So F and C, we're going to change the middle note. And we want to make the distance between the F and the A 4 instead of 5. So what do we do to the A? We flat it. We lower it. Okay? So if we do that, A flat, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then from the A flat to the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have a minor chord. We just made it minor. And you can do that for any chord. Really, any chord that you know is a major or minor, you can transpose it, or not transpose it, but transform it into its opposing chord. You can make a major chord a minor chord, or a minor chord a major chord. So hopefully that will help you understand. And then later on we will do diminished chords and augmented chords, and that's for another lesson. But keep practicing.